Classic Metroidvania is back, but not as the game series we remember. Just like the Phoenix, it has fallen and been reborn. That's where we find each other today, with a new and amazing Metroidvania by the name of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. A Kickstarter game that gathered a total of $5,545,991. Created by Artplay and published by 505 Games, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night once again showed the world the amazing quality of Koji Igarashi's work with this love letter to classic IGAVania. This review contains spoilers, so be aware. The game opens up with a beautiful song, as well as a beautiful picture of the castle in the background. If you press any button, you are taken to the game menu, where you have three choices. Game Start, where you press to start the game. Configuration, where you have the game settings like the game's controls, the different graphics options, volume as in music, voice volume, and sound effects. And finally, the other settings where you can change the spoken language, written language, the color of the game's blood, as well as being able to turn off the game's hints shown in the loading screen. The final choice you have is to quit the game like a true quitter. When you start the game, you are taken to the file select screen, and when you start the game, you get to name the same file. Naming it certain names will grant you a bonus in the game, and I assume later on you will have a chance to play as other characters as you select other names. After you have finished typing your name, you have three difficulty options: normal, hard, and nightmare difficulty. Hard and nightmare difficulty are locked until you unlock them. The game starts by having David Hayter, famous from the Metal Gear Solid series as the voice of Solid Snake, narrating the introductional story. Moving on to just that. I will not focus too much on the story of the game, as I think people should experience it on their own, but I will still go over the story. The world is at a divide, with two opposite sides. The Industrial Revolution taking the helm for advancements over the former spiritual worldview, and the Alchemy Guild, afraid of losing their relevancy and power in the world, utters a warning about the recent swarm of demons released onto the world. This is just the beginning if you continue the path you have chosen. They created the Shardbinders, humans infected by crystals, attuned with demonic power, who were sacrificed in order to open the demonic gate. All Shardbinders died, except for two. A young boy who miraculously survived, and a young girl who missed the rite because of falling into an endless sleep. As mankind forgot the demon attack, thanks to the church repelling it 10 years ago, the world would soon see demons wreaking havoc on the earth as they returned once more, alongside a great castle. On the very hour Miriam awoke, and she learned that Jebel, the boy who miraculously survived the ritual, is the one who has created this blood-stained ritual. So, she and her friend Johannes sets out for the accursed castle by ship. However, the trip would not be a safe one, as it wouldn't take long for the demons to attack their vessel, and Miriam finds herself having to battle the demons that are attacking the ship. As she makes it for the ship's helm, she runs into Jebel and the demon Gremory, accompanying him. They have a chat with each other, where Jebel is hell-bent on revenge against the world for what the humans did to them. Miriam tells Jebel that he was the one who once told her that the power doesn't make them good or bad, but their choices do. Gremory tells Jebel they must return to the castle, and Jebel parts with his final words. If you can find me in the castle, absorbing the demon's power and still call yourself human after that, I will listen to what you have to say. As they leave, Miriam is forced to fight against a massive demon.
Bloodstained.
After the demon is defeated, Miriam and Johannes make it for a nearby town, where they meet up with Dominique, an exorcist from the church, and they set up a base there that all survivors will make it for, if Miriam can find any on her trip to the castle. On her trip through the castle, she runs into Sengetsu, a Oni hunting warrior from the east, voiced by David Hayter. Zangetsu, being distrustful of Miriam, attacks her and they battle it out. On her adventure, she also runs into someone she knew from her time in the Alchemist Guild, and it is the man known as Alfred, who isn't pleased to see her either. That is where I will end the story a bit, to not reveal too much, but the plot is fairly simple to figure out if you have played any of the Metroidvania-styled Castlevania games before. I will still cover the ending later on though. If you have played any of the other Castlevania games in this style, you pretty much know how this game plays, as it plays very similar to Castlevania Area of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow. In fact, more closely to Dawn of Sorrow, but if you are new to this genre and have never played any of them before, this first section is especially for you. For the record, I play this game on PC with an Xbox controller, so that is the button format I will go with. You press A to jump and X to attack. You press down and A to slide and the left button to do an evading back jump. You can also interact and move certain items by moving the right control stick. You press the select button to open up the full map. You can move and zoom in and out on the map and put out a marker on it as well. You can also change the minimap by either moving it, making it wider or bigger, or decrease its transparency, or even turn it off completely if you like. The start button opens up the menu, and you go back in the menu by pressing B and A for confirming. You can also skip the text by pressing the start button. In the menu you can select equipment, which is where you equip your gear. Hats, facial wear, some accessories and scars alter your appearance, while some body equipment has a determined look and will override custom character look. More about the custom look a little bit later. Then there are the shards I will go over soon. The inventory, where all your consumables, crafting materials, key items and tomes can be found. More about the tomes later. Shortcuts, where you can set equipment setups easily changed to via shortcuts. Archives, where you can find your completion rate, all demons you fought, items you found, etc. I honestly never took a single look there while playing the game, but it's helpful for completionists. With certain weapons you can learn techniques, you can level up as well, but I didn't use them very often. Finally, it's time to cover the shards. There are 6 types of shards. Conjure shards. Conjure shards are your basic shard/magic attacks, which you use by pressing the Y button, and they will make your attacks conjure in front of you, like a dragon striking with its claw, for example. These shards are red in color and they cost a certain amount of mana per use. Manipulative shards. Manipulative shards are shards that manipulate your surroundings or yourself. You can use these shards to transform yourself into a little demon, or you can stop time with, or conjure a beast that attacks indefinitely until you run out of mana. Some forces you to hold the right button for them to be activated, while the transformation is a single button press. Something that are the same for all manipulative shards are that they all drain mana constantly. These shards are blue in color. Directional shards. Directional shards are a bit special in how you use them. First you must aim with the right analog stick and then press the right trigger to use the directional shard. Some will launch an aimed attack that costs mana per use, while others are active for as long as you hold the right trigger, but also drain a set amount per mana constantly. You can however move it around you as you use it, which makes them a bit more interesting. These shards are purple. Passive shards. Passive shards works exactly as suggested. They have passive effects such as stat increases, resistances, or money or item drop increase rates. They work simply by being equipped, and these shards are yellow. Familiar shards. Familiar shards summons a familiar, which are a small creature that helps you out as its own supportive unit. The fairy, for example, will pinpoint secrets when you are nearby, as well as use healing fairy items. Familiars can level up alongside you, but has their own level and experience pool. The shards are green when you get them. Skill shards. Finally, we have the skill shards, which are white. They have active effects you can turn on or off at your own leisure, such as the shortcuts. They are more of abilities which you need in order to reach new areas of the game and progress the story. Shards can be found by killing demons, through special item containers, or by being crafted. Now all the different shards are covered and we can move further with the gameplay. After you are done with the prologue map, which blend in with the rest of the world and can be accessible at all times, you stumble upon some people you rescue and you set up a base at the village. In the village you can accept quests from various townspeople, find a shop to buy and sell your goods, as well as craft new items, equipment or shards at Johannes alchemy station. Some quests get marked on a map to help you out. If you ever get stuck, you can always visit the shop to get clues on what to do next. Weapons also change appearance and playstyle, so there's a lot of mixing in the game, which is a lot of fun. Eventually through your quest, you'll run into a sister demon that will change your appearance by changing hair color or style, and changing the color on Miriam's clothes. This is a fun addition to the game, and you can revisit this NPC to change your appearance as much as you like. Finally, we have the tomes, which are books you can borrow from a vampire you find in a library area of the game by the name of Orlok Fahrenheit Dracul. That is totally not Alucard. OD for short. Not only does he look like Alucard, but he has the same English voice actor as the original voice actor for Alucard in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, voiced by Robert Belgrade. Anyhow, you may borrow books from OD as long as you return them, as he runs a library and not a bookshop. He really cares about the books after all. In the beginning, you can only lend one book, but return back and you will eventually be able to lend up to 3 books at the same time. But again, make sure to return them. He doesn't run a bookshop after all. Wink wink.
Be certain to return what you borrow. This is a library, not a bookshop.
He also adds new books, and all the different tomes has added effects, so make sure to borrow the ones you need the most. As this game is a Metroidvania, there's a vast game world to explore with several areas that are interconnected with each other, with some areas being inaccessible without the right skills. You also have save rooms and warp rooms that help you traverse the castle, and as always, there are glorious boss battles to be fought. Speaking about bosses, chances are if you played Curse of the Moon or seen my review of the game, card is in the corner by the way, you've seen several of the bosses already, but fear not. There are new and exciting bosses, but the bosses that show up again have different attack patterns, and the boss arenas has been changed. With one exception, as one boss reappears generally the same way, but with a neat new thing. But overall, that boss fight was better in Curse of the Moon. There are also a couple of bonus bosses in the game, which are optional, alongside the hardest boss in the game. I sure hope you didn't borrow that book from OD, that he was very specific about the importance of returning. Yet, the book being way too good not to forget returning. Of course, as this is being an IGAVania, it also comes with different endings, and this game has 2. I'll go through them in a little bit, but don't worry, there will be another spoiler warning before then. Ah, the music. The music is just absolutely fantastic in this game. It all begins with the main screen theme that goes by the name of Theme of Bloodstained. In fact, that theme was so captivating, I stuck around at the start select screen just listening to that theme. It's nothing short of amazing. Overall, the music is very catchy and follow the typical IGAVania rock music style, but there are some themes that are reminiscent of the music produced by Falcom Sound Team JDK for the E-series made by Neon Falcom. For example, the theme that goes by the name Gears of Fortune sounds like it came straight out of Ys. This is not a bad thing, however, as the music in Ys are great, just as it is in Castlevania, so it was a positive experience for something similar to be found in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. It was one of my favorite tracks from the game. I also liked Lost Garden, which played in the area of the same name. It sounds like a mixture of a scientific garden, filled with experiments gone haywire, with some nicely added mystique. As you might have noticed from watching my reviews, that's one part of music I really enjoy a lot. Speaking about experiments gone wrong, this game has fantastic music for that as well, with the violin sounding frantic and out of place, giving an eerie and creepy feeling, with themes like Vestige of Corruption. Some themes from Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is reprised in Ritual of the Night as well, such as Voyage of Promise, theme of Jebel, and Silent Howling. Of course, they wouldn't have the same 8-bit chiptune sound as the music from Curse of the Moon. Funny enough, Silent Howling also has an 8-bit chiptune version, but it keeps the same tempo as Silent Howling, which are significantly faster than Moonlight Judgment from Curse of the Moon, despite technically being the same song. Then of course, we have the amazing boss themes like Silent Howling, my personal favorite theme in the entire game, as well as the Executioners, which pump you up while fighting the boss, and Exoschism, which had history from the game itself within that reflects the boss fight pretty well. The game also had some surprise hits that I didn't expect, like a piano theme you could hear if you sat down at the piano in the Lost Garden. Even better if you had a very familiar as she would sing along. The sound effects were pretty accurate and sounded nice as well as the voice acting, which was great. Of course, I can't leave out the best enemy in the game with its own theme, and that would be Theme of Tamako, hitting it off right now as we go into spoiler territory again with the endings of the game. Jump to the timestamp on the screen to avoid the spoilers. Ending 1. This game has 2 endings, at least what I got myself. The first one, and most likely you get, is the bad ending, and this is how you get it. As you reach the boss room with Jebel inside, you fight against him and vanquish the knight, but not before Miriam giving him a verbal beatdown that he's wielding the power he's collected unwillingly. Anyhow, Jebel is slain and he tells Miriam she did the right thing before thanking her. Miriam and Johannes wonder if it's over despite the castle being left standing and all the demons still roaming about. Johannes tells Miriam to leave it to the church, and the Game Over theme plays and promptly show Game Over as you're booted back to the main menu of the game, as well as unlocking boss rush mode. Ending 2. The second ending of the game, which is considered the good or true ending, is a bit more difficult to get. So instead of tackling the fight against Jebel, you better backtrack to the castle's first floor to the blood fountain and drain all the blood from it. This opens up the water area of the game, where you need to get the jet boost shard to be able to jet your way underwater to reach the hidden sand area. From there, you need to fall into Alfred's trap and fight and win against him to be able to access the ability to walk underwater. You need to be able to walk underwater in order to reach the Flaming Inferno, where you learn to invert the world. This gives you the ability to reach areas that has been too high up before, but you also need to get a piece of equipment that protects you from the spikes in order to reach the Oriental Sorcery Lab, which you must reach the most inner area of in order to duel against Zangetsu. You must best him, as this is more of a test than a true fight really. Upon defeat, he gives you his blade, Zangetsuzo, also known as the Moon Slicer. Then you must face against Jebel while having the specific katana equipped and fight him as normal, and wait for the golden full moon turn blood red. Strike the blood moon and Gremory will reveal herself. Alfred jumps in and grabs what he was after all this time and make a run for it while Gremory chases after him. Jebel comes to his senses, but it's too late as he turns to crystal while they say their goodbyes. Johannes comes in and stores Jebel away in order to find a way to rescue him. Then we head for a particular room in the Lost Garden, where you can see the red moon early on in the game, and later on, just a full moon. Slice the moon here to reveal a portal which you jump into. Find Alfred at Death's Breath, imploring you to get the book back, the Illegal Logaeth, back from the one behind it all this time, Dominique. This is something I figured out a long time back, because this is a typical plotline for IGAVanias. chase her into the final area and fight against Gremory in order to be able to confront Dominique. I hope you didn't bring that special book. OD was very specific about returning, because if you don't, you will face your crimes by having to fight against him. He just happens to be the game's most difficult boss, so good luck.
Stop!
OD?
I warned you. What you take from the library must be returned to the library.
Oops.
This is of course after the warp of the area, so you can warp out of the area if you want to return it or restock on items. Anyhow, confront Dominique and defeat her in battle as she summons the King of Demons, Baal. She of course reveals why she did all of this, but fight against Baal, and once you have defeated Baal, the game is over, and all is well for now as the castle disappears from existence. So, is this game any good, and is it worth getting? If you are a fan of Metroidvania-styled Castlevania games, such as Symphony of the Night or Dawn of Sorrow, then yes, this is a game for you. It's a Metroidvania through and through, with vast areas to explore, new abilities to unlock, that lets you access new areas from within other areas. This does require backtracking, which is a staple for the genre, but it leaves you with some decent aha moments. The world is fairly interconnected, and several areas can be reached from many different areas. The game does offer a more linear level structure early on in the game, as well as some mid-game and late-game, which seems like a new take on the genre. It works alright, as the areas are fun to traverse, despite being linear, and they can be accessed again. At least 3 out of 4 of the areas that aren't part of the main castle. The music is great, and it's a fairly challenging game, with some bosses and areas wrecking your day pretty harshly. Unfortunately, the game suffers a bit by its level system and inventory, at least on normal mode. What I mean by that is that you get stuck on a boss or in an area. It's fairly easy to grind a few levels and ease through the area after that, or simply filling up on a food supply stock you can easily use to heal up, making it easy to cheese some boss fights. But that is a minor pick. I did like the permanent stat boost for every new dish you ate in the game for the first time, which incentivized the crafting. The quests are a bit bare-boned though, and mostly came down to kill these monsters, bring me this item, or give me this cuisine. There was one funny quest where you had to help a guy return back to the village though, who kept failing, ending up in new weird places, which Mariam would eventually tire of helping out. The story is pretty predictable, but it makes some good fun and the gameplay is solid. The graphics are alright, but the game does suffer from frame drops rather frequently, I found, without any real reason for it happening. I did end up encountering one glitch though, and that was I ended up behind a boss and I could easily kill it that way if I chose to. It's a long-wanted game and a great return to the IGAVania experience. As this game was backed, there was also backer-exclusive content in the game, which are now sold as DLC, where you get a new sword and an even harder boss fight than OD. This DLC costs €10 though, which sounds a bit pricey to be honest. At the same time, there are more content that is free, that has either been released at this point or are on its way. For now, you can get the game for €40, and in my opinion, the game is worth that price if you are a die-hard Castlevania fan, or a fan of Metroidvanias in general. Otherwise, wait for a price drop before getting this game. So, would I recommend this game? Yes? Yes I would. It was a lot of fun and longer than I expected it would be, but I had a good time through the entire game, and this was a great time. There we have it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this review, and let me know what you thought about it by leaving a comment down below. Subscribe and join the Frog Squad if you haven't already, and hit that bell to be notified about my uploads. Make sure to give it a good like if you enjoyed it. But enough talk! Have at you!